important, and fighting for mid-game control of elementals is really strong. Immortal Shieldbow Spike for her is huge. And Ornn, it's a pick that, once again, is for those mid-game fights, and then we'll add some extra scaling to this comp. It's not a scaling comp, though, in the traditional sense of just getting those items online and hitting damage spikes later. It will really fall far behind the Zeri Azir. I honestly thought something like an Aatrox or a Renekton would have been incredibly strong here for T1, but they don't pick that option.
Yeah, perhaps just wanting to look more for the team fight pick potential rather than, you know, trying to play for that lane. We do have last pick here for Canyon, and it will be the Xin Zhao, which we've seen off and on. Been a little iffy about it. I think that it can be amazing with the Yuumi. Again, just another pick that goes really well with the Yuumi, and it's really good at counter engage, kind of, you know, and providing space for your team.
Crescent Guard is super strong against Samira, Nautilus, Ahri, and even against Wukong, because if you have one player try to follow up on the famous for in spring.
Let's see if it works out. Let's hop onto the Rift for game one. Here we go, onto the Rift for game number one. I feel like, to me, the most interesting lane, actually, just maybe this is a personal thing, but I really want to see how the Ahri versus Azir is going to work out for Faker versus Showmaker. Samira, very interesting. I think that Guma can show some nice stuff with that, especially if they can get some momentum behind them, but you know, we have a lot of fantastic Ahris in the LCK.
T1 wave clear and prio in these lanes, especially with the performances we've seen from Zeus in particular and Owner, then the game sometimes just really runs away with itself, and Zeus laning very well here so far. I think T1 are in a position to really showcase.
Zeus baited into this one excellently. Nuguri is incredibly low, though, but it does not matter. Canyon is in here. There's no flash for Zeus. He is going to charge away just to get meleeed from range, as Canyon will take him down. That's first blood going to Canyon.
Wow, first blood goes over to the Xin Zhao, and baited here by Nuguri. We've seen this a few times tonight here. It was Rascal getting baited in the previous series by Doran, another legendary top laner in his own right, but this time it's Nuguri who sets it up. Canyon goes over, Owner not there, and yeah, that game was something.
Just another win in Genji's long line of wins that they have had this season.
Ducktom will actually grab a little bit of extra control down here on the Seri. Seri going to take an opportunity to back here. Looks like T1 want to group for Herald. Guma's going to have to catch this wave before he rotates up. And as a result, Damwon Kia actually have a lot of power here to potentially try to rush Drake and then head over there. You can see that, you know, Owner starts this up early. The timing is nice for this. And they could kind of half commit. They could put the Samira back and then head back down to lane if Damwon Kia commit up while they don't know where Samira is going to be. But I think this trade really favors Damwon Kia. I mean, Damwon don't lose any control of the map. Nuguri's going to take this time to get it back. And they just won't contest this. It's a solo Mountain Drake, which in the past we'd be like, oh, it means it's not Mountain Soul, so chances are this might not actually matter. But with the buffs, of course, to Elementals, which I promise we'll stop talking about at the end
eventually.
Of the week, I do like, as we're kind of, you know, still figuring out this meta, I do like the position that Damwon Kia find themselves in after this one. Significantly behind in gold and will be in legal. That would be really cool to see, just to see the actual difference and get like a real number, like, oh, this was a team fight at 21 minutes into the game. Yeah.
They took 500 less damage, you know, and we could be like, oh, you know, that could be significant, or, you know, just to see real numbers, because it definitely feels much stronger.
Yeah, so far, especially with the durability patch, something like Mountain. With all those extra armors already added into the kits of these champions. That's then compiled on by the percentage-based armor increase here for the solo elemental. Damwon, they have the composition that wants the game to be slowed down. So while this Rift Herald will give temporary gold to T1, I mean, they'll have it forever, but the advantages they'll gain from this plate crash is very temporary, unless they could dive Showmaker, which doesn't seem likely here. He's got backup. The Mountain Soul gives you those resistances forever, percentage base, plus 5 extra minutes of game time and an ability to just walk away from a mid-game fight where Samira's going to have a Mortal Shield Bow. You know, oh man, look at Zayas get the better end of that one though.
Yeah.
That was riveting gameplay up there, Valdez. I don't know what you're talking about. Showmaker went Crown in this game, which I think is advised considering the pick potential is we're going to hold our thoughts.
Uh-oh, we have a gaming moment as everybody is getting into this bottom side. Duckdom just gets the hell out of there. Charm is big, but again, it's Xintao. Owner is ticking down. He's going to be the first one to go down in this fight as the Samira does go X rank, and finally, the Inferno Trigger doesn't do enough. Are you kidding me? Everybody on the side of DK will live.
Oh man, it was on the edge, on the knife's edge there, and Kellen did so much in that defense. His ultimate was amazing, gets that extra shield off, and you gotta secure those kills, T1. Man, the turrets do so much damage at this stage in the game. Showed it was not on cooldown, might have just come off. I don't actually know if he used it there in that last fight. That's one thing I wasn't tracking between the Yuumi heal, the shield, and all that stuff. But either way, Canyon once again with a really nice mechanical play here, helped by his teammates. Kellen's final chapter there actually being massive in terms of making sure they get the Wukong kill. But this is a huge swing of gold Damwon Kia should not have, and they do.
Yeah, okay, 1,000 gold ahead. It looks like not really in position here, or Damwon, to challenge this Drake, but they're still potentially going to go for it. Final chapter once again. Guma's going to block some of that as they try to get on Showmaker, but he's going to live just barely again. How did they keep getting away with this? The Yuumi's insane, but T1 are still fighting on the front line, and the eventual Inferno Trigger comes in, and it is enough as Faker will look for more. One more auto will do it. He's just going to boop him. As that will do it. 4 kills, even with Showmaker getting hounded and surviving.
Yeah, you said they get away with it. Showmaker got away with it until he didn't.
Yeah.
The rest of Damwon Kia did not. And this is the 5 minutes of time I was talking about that Damwon Kia could afford to not fight at least one exactly when they want to fight you, exactly when they want to be turning. And T1's mechanics do come up big there. They actually fight it out properly. And yes, there was an angle with the slow from Duckdom and the follow-up damage, Kellen popping the ult there, but you know, it's a bit frustrating to, as Damwon I think realizing now after that fight that this is just basically fighting right into T1's big spike despite those failed dives earlier. It's not going to affect the Samira's strength in a fight like this.
Yeah, so T1 now off the backs of that big win. They're going to okay, Canyon's over the wall here, so I suppose Damwon Kia wants another fight. Canyon does not have flash, not yet. About 2 seconds, 5 seconds-ish. As Damwon, they want another fight.
Yeah, I just don't think they should.
They will not go down without one, as in comes Faker once again. Not quite able to land that charm. It's the Ornhorn now for the follow-up. A little bit late, not really going to get anything. And I mean, kind of trying to clear the wave, I suppose. Everybody's just backing away.
And, I mean, T1, I think they were looking at this. Canyon's over the wall, still has ultimate, still has flash. We're not going to commit onto him. They know that Damwon Kia have multiple angles of attack there.
Okay, Crescent Guard is available, plus flash for Canyon. As he's just going to Crescent Guard and then flash away. Now he's got a Yuumi on his back. Nice little play once again from Keria. He sees enemy, and he is pressing all his buttons on that guy.
Absolutely the right call. And for Damwon Kia in that fight around the second Rift Herald, they had a split setup where Canyon's coming. I think that's what Faker is saying. If Faker were casting this game, like, he wouldn't actually say words. He would just buy a Soul Stealer and say, well, this is the game state. I don't need to actually explain the rest of this. And maybe Faker will be a caster one day. I'd love to hear it.
That would, I mean, that would be...
maybe in 10 years.
We'll see. You need to have big pockets. That's all I would say for him, but it would be worth it. Yeah, I think it's a good idea, especially because he has stopwatch, you know?
Yeah.
Like, Ahri is kind of a champ that, you know, you can build into so many different things. You can go for more heavy damage, but it's kind of like a win more. If he gets a big fight and he survives in the next one, then he's just going to be insane
and
damage.
That is a point that imaginary Faker caster was making, but the caster who's actually casting Wolf was saying is that with this Majia's Soul Stealer, Faker is identifying, I don't think they will ever kill me for the rest of this game. Our comp has spiked. You fought into it. Now we're even further ahead. And every objective on this map now belongs to us. Yes, you got the first Drake spawning so long from now, 3 minutes away. And T1 want to fight. They want to fight so bad. They want to prove the strength of their comp. So they're saying, all right, Damwon, are you going to let us get vision everywhere and take turrets off the map, or are you going to fight us? We win either way, because we're going to push this turret. And if you guys come to join, we'll actually turn on you and look for a collapse. Love the way T1 is playing this lead here. There's not a whole lot they can do because there's no Drake, but they're at least forcing that deeper vision around this Baron buff that eventually will be a viable option for them to take.
Yeah, it's really what you got to do, especially because the way the game is played here, at least in the LCK, is not really around side lanes. Try to group up and look for plays just like this. Canyon gets out of position, goes into the crescent guard, immediately taken down by the, oh man, S-Rank as well popped here, but Duck coming on in, pops the Ghost as well as, okay. Well, goes very far away from the fight immediately after.
He realized he was still sitting on a Phantom Dancer and didn't have Infinity Edge. His Extendo Beam hit everyone, and everyone was slowed. If Showmaker is here, and he has Emperor's Divide with that, and, you know, he did have Teleport, so, I mean, there's a way where, I mean, yeah.
Why do you have to say it like that?
I'm picking up what you're putting down,
yeah.
And Damwon Ki are not going to want to be picking up all those Deception Orbs. But they will be potentially in this next fight here that they have to force now because it is whole point for T1. They have better prio here. I mean, choke point control for Damwon Kia is insane between the Xin Zhao that can split the team up if they decide to engage, the Azir ultimate. Yeah, and so Faker with no flank angle here, I mean, T1 might just try to push mid instead and force Damwon Kia to react.
Yeah, still some time here.
Wouldn't agree.
The Damwon are in good position at the moment as they are going to get on top of this Nautilus, but immediately followed up with a knock-up, and that is going to be huge. They get the Nautilus, but what do they lose? The answer is everything. As Duck goes in, he's going to be taken out eventually as well. Faker will net himself that kill, and yeah, that's why you generally don't want to go all in onto the tank support. That's going to be another Infernal Drake here for T1.
Yeah, I mean, he's got his Mythic online. Kill for Zeus and Wukong, 0, 1, and 8. Like, all kills secured by the proper parties. All the item spikes are hit. 16 sacks of Soul Stealer, and
yeah, Faker got a bunch of stacks, like you just said, and he's up to 506 AP already. I mean, we're only 26 minutes into the game. With the build he has gone for, he is just an AP dominator. As okay, bunch of damage onto this one. They're just going to go ahead and flip it as in goes Canyon. He's not going to get the smite, though, as the wall comes up, and now Canyon is left to the Wolves. As down he will go. Duck not really in a position here to do anything, as everybody else on the side of T1 is just away from them. And that is a Baron take pretty clean from the side of T1. They didn't necessarily have to, you know, let Canyon get into the pit, but works out in the end.
They let him into the pit. They prevented him from going out. And they'll take it. As I mean, this is just an incredible siege now. Baron buffs up, 2.5 minutes. They could just walk it down. If they get any kills here, it's Dunzo. As Duck still doesn't have Infinity Edge, has no poke damage back. Struggling to clear these minions here. And T1 could just use this Baron buff to try to open up inhibitors, split off on the map. They're going to go back, it looks like taking the power recall reset to do that. But when this Baron buff wears off, it's going to be soul fight for T1. And I think it was pretty easy to see when Damwon Kia took those two poor fights. The main one, of course, on that solo Cloud Drake earlier on that was already taken. That they fell into a trap of T1's item spikes, couldn't catch up, got map control ripped away from them, and the next 15 minutes of the game have just been T1 saying, this is mine, but there is, unfortunately, way too much damage for T1. Azir cannot survive long enough to get any value out of Nashor's Tooth in the fight. Like, can you even imagine a Nashor's Tooth actually getting value in a fight in this game?
He tried in the last fight. It barely scraped Ornn's shield. He got like 2 autos off only, but I mean, especially with Crown, like, you're just not given any time to scale. It's just not going to happen. As there you go, once again, the front line of Damwon Kia, like all of the stuff we talked about in the draft, it just doesn't matter because you're so far behind. As T1 will push in with this Baron. They'll take down 2. Faker's going to miss the charm, but that is totally fine. He will not go down. The inhibitor looking to be taken out as well, as Duck is kind of like an annoying bee that's flying around your head, but other than that, it's not really doing anything.
Is a bee a fruit fly, perhaps?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got to flash that bee emoji to really let it sink in. As he'll die from T1. they have executed this comp to a T. And even that dive and the idea of it, if the execution was better, is exactly what their comp should be doing. And this is a huge return to form for them in the early game.
Yeah, it's nice to see the return of Samira as well. It works so well with this composition, even just with her passive. But, you know, somebody gets knocked up, you're knocked up for double the time. Plus, she's going in, you know, right with everybody else. There's none of this, you know, dilly-dallying around. As Faker, yeah, he's really fed. He's insanely fed.
What's the tank?
He doesn't need magic penetration, but I think he does have Void Snap now online as well. So,
Faker's like, hold on, I will kill the Drake and Sejuani at the same time.
Dead Piggy. Piggy is dead, so is the Xinjiao, and that's going to be everybody as Duck Dime. He's having a little bit of fun. Down he will go as well. That is going to be another kill into the pockets of Guma. As, man, this is turning into one hell of a stomp. T1 with the Infernal Soul, I think maybe they can just push to end. And they will.
You think Valdez? We know now as they push through. The super minions are also having a good time up here, completely uncontested.
Yeah.
One last Yumi ult.
Nice little try there from Carry. It's not going to amount to anything as you know that T1 love to go for their dives into the fountain, but that's going to do it for game number 1. A Omega Stomp here in game number 1. As they say once again through their play that we are the better team.
If Duck Dom was an annoying bee with these